feel like that's just a better way to word it.
Probably is.
All right, we are recording.
So, bitches.
That's a good intro right there.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah, that's perfect. That's
No,
perfect.
I do need to redo the intro to the fucking podcast though, because I'm not a big fan of the one that we have now. So, welcome to the Uncrowned King podcast. Oh no, we're just the Uncrowned podcast. Never mind. Scratch the king. We've grown. We've evolved
This is the
our
kingdom.
mentality.
This is the kingdom.
Indeed. But we will pretty much cover anything and everything that has to do with men's mental health, quality of life, and everything of the sort. And then maybe a couple real world bullshits here and there. So just to give you some real application, just some real life shit. This is completely uncensored and unfiltered, so you may get offended, you may not. I really don't give a shit, but we are quite vulgar at times. A lot of it's me. A lot of it's me. But don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast and leave a rating, and so we can put out more of this shit. Anyway, topic for today is the cause and effect of a absent father. And this can go either way. Be the deadbeat style, he just dipped, didn't come back with the milk or the cigarettes, or the situations where, and this is becoming a lot more common nowadays too, the mother's keeping the child away from the father. So, I feel like we should start off with a couple questions in regards to this, and then we'll kind of take that conversation. We'll go from there.
Okay.
Hey,
What do you think is the biggest issue with a missing father in that whole relationship? What is the
well,
biggest effect you think it has?
a kid needs a role model, right? The son needs a father figure or a good male role model in his life, just how a daughter or a girl needs a good female role model in her life. All the power in the world to these single moms that are trying, and the fucking father's a deadbeat, right? But shame on you if you just have beef with the fucking dad and you're keeping the son away from him, because you're doing your son a major fucking injustice. He needs a good male role model to figure out how to be a fucking man. It irritates the shit out of me when women are like, I'm the mom and the dad. Really? You have a vagina and a penis? That's crazy. You're a medical anomaly. You can't. You won't know how men think. You won't know how, we react, how we respond, how we function, right? How we deal with shit, how we're supposed to handle shit. Kudos to you for trying, but you're not going to be able to do the best job. You can't give him everything that he fucking needs. Next.
Did anybody want to add anything to that?
If you've got questions, comments, or anything, feel free to type in the chat. We will read them aloud for him, and he will answer.
Oh, Shad's not coming to this one because his microphone or headset broke.
I'm not sure. Caden said that he's trying to fix it, but we're not sure if Chaz will be making this one or not.
Didn't he just get those headphones?
Yes.
Did we
That sucks.
officially put out the start of the event?
I did. I tagged server updates.
So, I guess we can carry on to the conversation of like, what causes, I guess, an absent father, right? And I gave a couple of examples in the beginning. You know, dad was a deadbeat, left for milk, didn't come back. Another situation might be the mother's keeping the child from him. It happens. Personally experienced it, and you're my buddies. It happens. It sucks. When it comes to child custody and shit, men have very little rights when it comes to that shit. And I don't think women realize to what extent how severe it is, and why that is not something to be taken lightly. I live in the state of Illinois, very pro-woman state. It is very hard for a father to get, I want to say sole custody, but have basically that full time, whereas the mom is part time, right? It's extremely unlikely, very fucking hard to do. Like the mom has to basically be damn near beating the shit out of him or neglecting him in order for any of that to even happen.
Yeah, like
So that's already the situation.
my case is actually unique in that respect. I was living up in Illinois when I won joint custody, and that was a long, long court battle.
So
So I think there's actually, I mean, there's a couple other things that we haven't really gone over. I mean, there's always the very obvious, your father died, which is tragic in its own way because there may not necessarily be any malice there. So when you have a parent who's keeping a child from the another parent, that's obviously a problem within itself. But when another parent dies, you're realistically left with another parent who may or may not be doing their best. And that's simply just what they've been left with, and that sucks. And I kind of have a lot more sympathy, um, because I mean that could have been an otherwise great family. But on the other
no,
side of
you make
that, on the other side of that, I do think that there is, it's kind of a give and take. Um, in one instance, yeah, you can have a deadbeat father, and the woman has no control over that. And in the instance that JB is kind of talking about, you can have a honestly terrible mother who's keeping her child away from their father who wants to be involved. But then also, the other thing that I kind of worry about is the ownership of the man, where you should be very cautious, especially nowadays with every relationship that you get into, because if you don't know this person and you're fooling around with them, do you know if this is going to be a good person that you're going to have to be involved with for the next 18 years potentially?
hear that, guys. Wrap it up. I don't, but this is a do what I say, not as I do. Anyway, no, you make a very good fucking point with the loss of the father. He's passing, which is extremely tragic, and my heart breaks for anyone that has had to go through that. You know what I mean? So you're absolutely right on that case. That's something that is definitely out of your control. I've, you know, been keeping my ear around, trying to eyeball the mass interwebs, and I've been seeing a lot more toxic mothers being exposed. Excuse me. Than hearing more about deadbeat dads. I feel like probably what 6, 7 years ago, maybe all you heard about was deadbeat dads. Now you fucking listening a little closely lately. You've been hearing a lot about these toxic mothers. 'Cause I think, especially with the rise of social media and everything, kind of gaining traction and what have you, we're finally starting to call out, you know, the shit that some of these not so up to par moms, you know, have been kind of getting away with for so long, right? They've been able to skate, like skate underneath the fucking radar, because there was no as an outlet, or there was no spotlight on them. So I think it might be a good turn of events, I guess. Hopefully, maybe if people fucking wake up, um, if we actually start paying attention to those kind of things, right? We actually continue to call out the bad parents, right? Because there are bad moms, and yes, there are bad dads. I'm just saying you're starting to actually hear more about the other side now. Because for the longest time, you couldn't be a bad mom. Don't know why, but all you ever heard about was bad fucking dads. And in my opinion, I feel like an extremely toxic mother can be sometimes even more detrimental than just an absent father.
I think that kind of swings both ways. I mean, if you're a parent and you're an alcoholic and you're always beating on your kids, you're probably doing more damage than you are if you were not there. It isn't just, and it also isn't kind of like with like a toxic mother. It isn't just like the ways that you topically harm your kids, by either berating them or beating them, but sometimes it's just teaching them toxic behaviors, as a lot of toxic mothers do.
I also feel
So,
like I also kind of feel like that the spotlight has started shining a lot more with the change of time now. You start seeing a lot more with women wanting full equality. Now that spotlight is shining on them, holding them accountable for all the toxic behaviors they are showing now.
right. So, I mean, this is, I can even pull from my own personal experience, is like my biological mother, she's a fucking toxic mom. And the issue with, having that visual and being around that, even though I lived with my father, he had uh, full custody, and my mother had part time. Even being around that just a little bit still takes a heavy psychological toll, right? And having that kind of damage and abuse done has affected my relationships, moving forward, right? And the women that I choose and how I go about things in the relationship and everything of that sort. Like, it's pretty much a damn near miracle I even made it this far and turned out the way that I am. Granted, I did have a kid when I was 18. Started to follow suit. I did allow myself to slip down that slippery slope, right? Because I've technically, you follow the genetics, addiction has been shown to be genetic or hereditary, whatever the fuck. So I know I have an addictive personality. Pair that with an extremely toxic and abusive mother, shit, I should be a drug addict in jail with 3 baby mamas and possibly gonorrhea. So it takes a lot more of a toll that I think people realize. And I feel like that's definitely something that, needs to be called out or needs to be brought up to the surface. And don't get me wrong, this is not, just gonna turn into like a giant single mom bashing podcast rant or whatever. It's just calling out the things that aren't really talked about. We're gonna get to the deadbeat dads. Don't worry. That's coming. But right now we're just kind of transitioning with the different situations, kind of outlining, how that really affects everything. And one thing that I think we also failed to bring up is another scenario of the dad's there, right? Physically, I guess. But the dad isn't really there, right? He's not present here.
He's there, but he's not there. He's not
Bingo.
being a dad.
I wouldn't exactly say he's not being a dad because then we have to define being a dad. And I don't think anyone is qualified to really put a label on, besides the biological part of you were in my nuts, I put you in your mom, and your mom popped you out like a goddamn magic trick. I don't think any one of us are even qualified or even able to define what is a dad, right? Because we're all going to have a little bit different definitions, per se. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, there's a reason why there's the term father and then a term father figure. Usually, the description of a dad is kind of able to be what's the word I'm looking for? It's able to be translated to multiple people as long as they're actually a part of your life. So we can theorize what the description should be, but
Right.
none of us would be correct.
I think everyone kind of has a basic idea and picture of what a father is in their mind, and at the base of it, the core element of it is um, a mentor, and that's really at the core is a mentor and a leader.
Yeah, yeah. But look at the generation that's coming up right now. All the little guys
Definitely.
running around. They're not fucking leaders.
Um,
They're pussy ass bitches fucking taking the back seat.
and I think that kind of goes to show with your what you said about a father who's there physically but not mentally there. That's a father who is not leading.
Right,
I mean,
right. And
I
it's
remember my father, one of the coolest memories I had when I was very young was my father teaching me how to tie a double Windsor knot for a tie. But everyone that I talk to that I know who is a little bit younger than me, oh, I just looked it up on YouTube.
I googled it. Don't get me wrong. If I remember correctly, my dad's tied a couple of my ties. You know, just like okay, you're on your way. But when he wasn't there, I think I ended up looking it up on Google.
Well, even I needed a refresher at one point because it was been so long. But I saw just a quick move that I needed, and it was just like, oh, I remember now. Boom, because I hadn't
In
done it
my
in a
case,
while.
my dad was not a part of my life until sometime around 16 or 17 years old. So I didn't get to learn how to tie a tie properly until I had joined the army. And that was thanks to a freaking drill sergeant. So not the greatest role model for learning to tie a tie, but definitely a father figure if ever there was one.
So it's like that's surface level, right? So the cause and effects of a father or father figure not being there, not being able to tie a tie, the little bullshit, the tiny memories, feeling like you have someone to go to when you need to ask questions. Right? I guess one of the benefits that can come out of it, right? Maybe not so much the emotional side of things. One thing I did learn from my dad, even though our schedules always seemed to be opposite with everything, because he was, working a shit ton and went back to school, and I respect him a lot for that. Watching him work and work and work and do nothing but work. That's where I learned my work ethic, right? He worked, he provided. We never went without. So in some cases, I guess there's like that silver lining, I guess, in the dark storm. Is the emotional side of it may not have, been there. However, some traits were still picked up just by watching his actions. You know what I mean? So I guess that's something, right? But you're absolutely right, and you know, you always need a father figure, and you can have multiple, right? Don't get me wrong, right? It could be a coach, a counselor, a teacher, a fucking your boss, your father-in-law, but an older brother, you know, that kind of guides you along the way in a respectful manner, especially. So there are ways if it's the dad's not there completely or whatever. Every situation is going to be different. I'm not going to pinpoint it. You need something though, right? You need something because this ties back to what I was saying kind of in the very beginning. Excuse me. A son needs a role model of sorts. Father figure, something. Because When that is not present, child doesn't know how to express himself appropriately. He learns how to express himself via his mother, right? So if his mother is at least, a good mom, again, we can't really define that. But in terms of the sense of like everything we would think a good mom to be, I'm pretty sure we could all paint some sort of Mary Poppins picture bullshit. He's going to learn how to express his emotions via how a woman would. There's one issue with that. I'm going to paint this scenario for you guys, right? Women are always, you know, in general, I shouldn't say always, be open with your emotions. Let it free. Talk about them. Cry. You know, we're allowed to cry, just not all the damn fucking time. Completely different to how men express their emotions or show emotions, right? So he's gonna, watch his mother and pick up those expressions of emotions, and that's how he feels that he should express himself and his emotions and everything. Well, and then he meets a girl. Okay. He's gonna want to be open, or she's gonna want him to be open, right? He's gonna express himself to this lovely woman that he had met and is starting relations with, and he's gonna express himself to her in the only manner that he knows how, which was taught by his mother. Pretty sure, guys, we've all been there when you already know where this kind of story's going. Again, when I say this, not all women, right? Because even when I say that, there's still a motherfucker in the comments going, "You're picking the wrong women." Yeah, okay. Sorry. Not an expert fisherman. Kind of just cast a reel out there and at this point just hope for the fucking best. At some point, those emotions are going to come back to bite him in the fucking ass. Because he wasn't expressing them how he should have been. And she's going to get turned off, or she's going to use it against him, or she's not going to care, right? Something along the lines. That poor little fragile mama's boy's heart is going to get shattered like a china, a fucking plate of china. After that, ta-da, the fuckboy is born. He does not give a fuck anymore. He got his one little piece of hope, the only thing that he knew how to do, and he got shown really quickly that that fucking hurts sometimes. And he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it one bit. So, fuck my emotions, but more importantly, fuck your emotions. Because you hurt me. And I don't give a shit anymore. So, I'm gonna just go on a rampage. Fucking everything that I see that walks and breaking their hearts along the way. And not caring. Why? Because no one gave a fuck about me when I express my emotions, so why would I give a fuck about you? And then someone has to come along, right? Either that father figure, that mentor, or that angel saint of a fucking woman that can, shave down his devil horns to show him, hey, you don't have to be afraid to show your emotions, right? This is just how you do it. This is how you do it appropriately. This is how you do it in the right manner, right? This is how you do it so that you still can have that level of trust between you and another person. But until that happens, that poor little boy that got his fucking heart broke will always have a level of mistrust. It might fade over time and with maturity and life experience, right? But he'll always remember that. What had happened when he had told his fucking partner that he was depressed or he was going through it or whatever. So with that being said, right, that's just on the psychological level of what happens when, it's a single mother home, right? And there's no father figure, father, whatever it may be. Moving forward with that, we can look up some of the statistics, right? And if I would have known, this was the topic beforehand, I would have prepared some for you guys. But it ain't fucking pretty. Google what happens to a kid when there's an absent father. Look at all the fucking negative statistics. Crime rate goes up. Unemployment goes up. Chance of being in jail goes up. Chances of being addicted to something goes up. Chances of getting 17 Latinas pregnant all within a span of a year goes up. Not literally, but you get the fucking idea. It just goes awry. Because he's taking all of that masculine energy that he has, he doesn't know how to utilize it. He's just spewing it everywhere. Basically treating it like chaos, right? Unorganized, unpredictable. He doesn't know how to conduct himself appropriately. And what sucks and what's a shame is when shit like that comes around, all you'll fucking hear now is, that's toxic masculinity. Bitch, how can it be toxic masculinity if he was never even taught how to be a fucking man? It is a lack of masculinity. If masculinity is control and he lacks control, he's operating more in his feminine, not his masculine. It's not fucking toxic masculinity. He's just got testosterone and balls and you don't. There's a fucking difference. I'm gonna put that one to rest right fucking here. But that's just basically the overarching and overcompassing, you know, the effects of what happens when that dad is not around. You guys have any thoughts, questions, concerns of what I? Sorry, I kind of went on a rant.
Well, there is one thing that I want to add in particular.
No,
Just a simple question for you, JB, and it's not a gotcha or anything. Do you want to date an exceptionally masculine woman?
oh, I don't want that.
Exactly. When a mother is unfortunately raising a son, you're going to raise him to be more feminine. Girls do not want to date girls, at least the straight ones. They want to date men. Men do not want to date men. They want to date girls.
Well, I mean, gay guys want to date men. So
You get the point, though. Like we're talking strictly heterosexual couples. They want to date. Men and women are complementary. They are not interchangeable. They're simply not.
so it's funny that you kind of say that and word it that way too. You ever looked at studies done about how women view men when they're on birth control versus when they're not? When those hormone levels get fucked with?
I think I heard something the other day actually. Apparently, I don't know if it's like an old wives' tale or something, but apparently, if a woman is having wedding jitters or something and she's on birth control, she's supposed to go off birth control for like either 2 weeks or like a month, and if she's still having issues with her guy, like thinking about her guy when she goes off of it, she's supposed to run because then she'll be thinking more femininely, and that should be her compass telling her to run.
So that was actually not nowhere near the direction where I was going, but that was actually interesting. I've never heard that before. I wonder if anyone listening can comment on that and see if it has any, backing to it, because that's kind of interesting. I've never heard that before. What I was going towards is there was a study done on the kind of men that women find attractive, right, when they're on or off birth control. When they're on birth control, they find more feminine men attractive. When they're off it, they like the more dominant, right, the more masculine men. Why? Because they're ovulating, they're bleeding. That is a signal to the brain saying, oh, he's a nice hunk of meat. I want him in between my legs.
Oh my god. I do have some statistics if you want me to read them to you, JB.
Go for it. Send it.
Okay, this is gonna be kind of shocking. 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. 5 times the average. 90% of all homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes. 32 times the average. 85% of all children who show behavior disorders come from fatherless homes. 20 times the average. 80% of rapists with anger problems come from fatherless homes, 14 times the average. 71% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes, 9 times the average. Children with fathers who are involved are 40% less likely to repeat a grade in school. Children with fathers who are involved are 70% less likely to drop out of school. Children with fathers who are involved are more likely to get A's in school. Children with fathers who are involved are more likely to enjoy school and engage in extracurricular activities. 75% of all adolescent patients in chemical abuse centers come from fatherless homes, 10 times the average. And there's this page. I could keep going, and keep going. I'm gonna send this to the group because this is actually quite fascinating.
Yeah, if yeah, make sure I get a hold of that so I can tag it in the podcast description.
I think we should vet it, but 100%.
Yeah, I'll definitely want to include that as well. That's fucking crazy. And I can already hear someone in the back, deep dark parts of the interwebs, going, "See, we need to teach our young men not to rape." No, dumbass, you shouldn't have to teach kids or young boys or teenagers or men in general. This is a bad thing. No, no, no. Bad people are still gonna do what bad people do. Gun control, perfect example. They're still gonna get the fucking guns. There will always be bad people in this fucking world. What we can do, however, is do our best to try to raise actual fucking men, because actual fucking men stop the bad guys. They stop situations like that. So, pick and choose your battles, because right now you're fighting the fire with the goddamn squirt gun. And I'm not talking about when he finger blasts you the right way and you make a sploosh.
Yeah, but in that way you don't get kids. So pros and cons.
I'm not going to comment. I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that one.
She didn't.
I was trying to keep this a little more on the serious side, but it's always leading back to cocks and vaginas. Lovely.
Lovely. Do you have anything to add, Pickle?
Do what?
Do you have anything to add? You've been pretty silent.
Like literally woke up from a nap like 2 minutes before this thing. My brain is not functioning at all.
I didn't sleep last night. I'm running on no sleep for the past 48 hours. I don't want to hear it.
I work a lot better on sleep deprived than those surprise naps.
Oh
You
yeah.
poor thing.
No, naps really will do you in. It's not like getting half a night's sleep. It's not the same.
No, because people don't really understand. You need to be able to nap right. Like there's a right way to fucking nap. Because if you just go to lay down, your body will end up slipping into REM sleep. But then if you wake up, your mind's still off, but your body's awake. Well, I'm
Yeah.
guessing that's what happened to you.
Yeah.
So wake up!
JB's just smirking. I helped.
But no, seriously, guys, I don't think people really understand, right, the true implications of their actions when these situations come about. And I'm talking about that in two scenarios. Don't fuck a dude you're not willing to fucking have a kid with. Guys, same goes for you. Don't fuck a woman you're not willing to have a kid with, then you wouldn't be put in that situation. I'm a perfect example of that dumbass. Fucking someone I didn't want to have a kid with. But found out I make cute kids, so whatever. But on the other side of the spectrum, moms who are keeping their kids away from the fucking dad. You do not realize the fucking harm and the possible damages that you are doing, not only to your kid, right? Not only to your fucking son, but whatever damage comes along when that boy grows up and lives the life that he fucking does. You better pray to God someone there at school is fucking gonna mentor the shit out of him. Or someone in his life is gonna, pluck him from that mentality or state that he's in.
I mean,
Because as
I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh no, well I was just gonna bring up when you do that and it affects the son, just like the statistics that you had said, how even the rates of rape go up. Lo and behold, who knows? You may have been able to stop that by allowing the dad to fucking see the kid. Granted, these are all hypotheticals, but this is shit that needs to get talked about. It's a fucking butterfly effect. You never fucking know. But if you take that risk management and do things that you're supposed to do and do right by your goddamn kids, situations like that may not fucking happen.
I mean, kind of like you said, the 80% of fatherless homes are, or 80% of rapists come from fatherless homes should be eye-opening. And you're right. Like there's some responsibility. Like you have absolute responsibility as to how your kids turn out. Like if you're keeping your child away from one of their parents and they turn into a derelict and a drag of society and they do all kinds of harm to all kinds of people, that's entirely on you because you didn't give them all of the tools to succeed. And 50% of the tools come from another parent. And that's just the reality.
Uh, you might do me a favor and looking up another statistic for me really quick.
Yeah, sure.
Look at the percent of the rate of single moms over the past few years.
As according to like how many households are single?
Oh, right. How many reported like single moms are there from like 2000 like 17 to 2022 or whatever the fucking chart shows? You kind of get where I'm trying to get at here?
Yeah. Um
Because I have a feeling I know the direction of that graph.
In 2020, there were about 15.31 million children living with a single mother in the United States, and about 3.27 million children living with a single father. Oh, okay, here we go. Um, Holy crap. So in 2020, nearly 19 million children, so that's pretty close to the combined that I just read, amounting to 25% of all children in the U.S. were living in single-parent families. That percentage is nearly 3 times the level in 1960 of 9%.
See where this trend is going? This whole I don't need no fucking man bullshit and the lack of accountability and responsibility to who the fuck you decide to have sex with and not sticking to it. And Like I feel like I need to like put the puzzle pieces together for everybody here.
Hold on, can you repeat what you just said, JB? Because there's an issue with the audio and whatever happened, I don't know if it was my Discord or everyone's Discord did not catch it.
No, I think some dumbass tried to call me. Hold on.
Oh, okay, that'll do it.
You hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Beautiful. What was the last thing that you heard?
It was just the last tidbit, um, right before I said something.
Oh, I was basically saying like I feel like I need to like connect all the dots or connect all the fucking puzzle pieces together for you guys, right? The big push in society right now is strong, independent woman. I don't need no fucking man. Divorce rates are getting higher. Marriages are getting lower. I haven't been to a fucking wedding in God knows how long. I went to my buddy's wedding, and that was the first one in like 15 fucking years. Like, but it seems like every other month I'm hearing about a divorce, right? So more and more families that were married are becoming single parent homes. On top of that, more and more families, quote unquote, are becoming single parent homes before marriage. And I don't know the statistics of it, but I'm just going based off, what I've seen so far is these kids are getting pregnant younger and younger. Everything in that way is going up. And then we just read all the statistics of what happens when situations like that happens. So what the fuck do you think is going to start happening? Single mom homes are going up. Like single parent mom, fuck, I can't speak. Single mom households are going up. These kids are getting pregnant younger and younger. This whole pusher mentality of all men ain't shit and fuck men. I always laugh when I hear moms say that, and I'm looking at them like, you have a fucking son, you dumbass. All this is just separating and pushing everything so far to the point where we need to start fucking acting up, acting right, taking responsibility, handling our fucking shit, opening up our eyes to the narrative that's been fucking pushed at us. Because we can't just sit back and wonder, why the fuck is this generation so weak? I don't know. You keep fucking making them. Stop fucking making them.
I think.
You,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
you should be. No, I was gonna say, you think people should, have to take a test to be qualified to have kids? I agree.
I mean, that's an idea. I mean, there's also the other side of the coin where, a mother is teaching her son all kinds of things that are going to end up just hurting him and society as a whole at large. But on the other side of that, you have a whole lot of mothers who are also teaching their daughters horrible things. Which, and you already said it, you already spoke to it, which was men ain't shit. They're they don't they didn't just pick that up. They learned that phrase from someone, and it was more than likely another woman. And
So, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
but I was talking to a friend of mine who, and I can pull up the statistics by race. Now apparently I ran into him as far as unmarried households. My friend is African American, and just based off of these statistics, the rate that that community is unmarried, having children out of wedlock, is much higher. And I had my friend, he told me, he said, I would love to get married, but it will be, he told me, it will be more than likely with either a Hispanic girl or a white girl. I was like, that's weird. That's kind of a weird thing to say. He's like, no, 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 you don't get it.
Why
There,
is it weird?
just because I
We
had
got preferences. I don't like black chicks.
it wasn't
Very
that.
rarely will I ever find a
He
black chick attractive.
no, he told me. He said, I find black girls attractive. He's like, that is my community, but I will not get into that. I will not try to marry one. And I was like, that sounds weird and kind of racist in a weird way. And he's like, no, you don't get it. Culturally, most of these girls that are being raised by single women, and they're teaching their daughters how to be that way. And they're carrying that mentality from daughter to daughter to daughter.
So yeah, it's fucking funny that you say that because I've literally heard that by so many guys, and that's the biggest reason why they won't ever date a black woman because it's the attitude and the mentality that fucking comes along with it, and that's really got a fucking spotlight shined on it, especially in the past couple of years when it's gotten really fucking bad. I mean, I know that for me is one of the biggest fucking reasons because if you got a fucking attitude problem, you're not physically attracted. I'm not physically attracted to you at all. That is an instant turn off so fucking quick. My dick goes inside.
Well, and one thing
It
I
just
do want to
hides.
say, I, that's not an image I wanted to have. Um, I do want to qualify this. This is not like a condemnation of that community as a whole or anything. This is just obviously what you've been told, JB, and what I've been told. This
No, I
isn't.
mean, don't get me wrong. This is why, like, I feel like I say this during every fucking podcast. Statistics don't deal with absolutes, and opinions are like assholes. Everyone's fucking got them. So if it offends you, shut the fuck up and keep it to yourself. I don't care. Here's the thing. You're right. Every community has their bad apples. I've met my fair share of white chicks that holy fuck the mouth on them. So shut the fuck up. You are not all that, sweetheart. Same thing with every other fucking race. It ain't about race. We're fucking human, and there are plenty of shit humans. It's just what sucks is we had to put that label on it because the government said so. Because if you look at it, and there's a lot of people in that community that are starting to pick up on, what's been kind of pushed and the agenda that's been kind of going on to try to basically skew them per se. Because let me put it to you like this: if you tell yourself something wrong, right? It false information. At first, you might be able to question it. You might be able to actually figure it out. If you tell yourself something over and over and over and over and over again, you will soon start to believe that as true. You will soon start to believe that as your reality. So when that is constantly pushed on people or society or culture or whatever and gets so buried and deep fucking ingrained, what do you think is gonna fucking happen? It is like, don't get me wrong, it's not fucking right at all. But there's some people that's kind of figured out that whatever they're pushing and whatever they kind of geared everything to fucking work and how we interact with each other and how we see each other and everything else that's going on, it's all the fucking little strings have been pulled and all the seeds that have been planted in the head over and over. The mom's teaching the daughters. The mom's teaching the daughters. The lack of fathers. The father's teaching the like son. Like, bigger picture. Open up your fucking eyes, people. We weren't meant to fucking act like this. Anyway,
Yeah, take a deep breath. You just said a lot.
I just get frustrated. I was like, how the fuck do you not see this shit? How are you not able to open up your fucking eyes and understand what's going on? that you're literally getting played. You don't have to if you don't fucking want to. But you're too fucking ignorant to actually see what's going on and accept the fucking truth for what it is. Truth hurts. Sorry. Not really. But at some point, you can't use the I didn't know card. You can't use the, oh, my bad, I missed it. No one told me. No one taught me. Oops. That shit only goes so far. It comes to the point where that shit just ain't fucking cute anymore. At some point, you're gonna have to grow up, be your own fucking adult, be your own goddamn person, and understand that we have the fucking internet. If you want to see something, search it. Ask. Read a fucking book for Christ's sakes. You cannot sit there and say, I didn't know. I didn't know better. Or I didn't know that's not how this works. Ask. Fucking ask. Fuck.
Speaking of asking, does anybody in chat have any questions?
I'd probably like standing like with a stake, like poking it to see if like agitate the bear, making sure it's safe.
Oh, Holy has made a rare appearance.
Oh wow. Holy cow. Holy guacamole. Holy shit. I don't know any others. Holy Bible.
Oh, we haven't seen you in a while, Holy. That's why we say it's rare.
Like a Pokemon.
Yeah, from henceforth, Holy is known as Mewtwo.
So with everything else being said, right? Do you guys have any last minute closing thoughts or comments, questions, concerns as we're gonna wrap it up here?
What are, let's give it 5 things that you would think you would advise on this subject as far as being a father, picking a mate, so on and so forth.
Well, in order to pick the proper mate, you need the right mating call. Just kidding.
Demonstrate your mating call.
My mating call is my voice. I talk and they come.
Gotcha.
See what I did there?
You cannot tip your sunglasses down and look at us. No.
Yeah, you see what I did there though?
Yeah. You made a double entendre.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a smooth criminal. Anyway, first of all, don't buy into the whole, oh, I need a hoe phase. That never used to be a fucking thing. Now all they're doing is justifying it, giving it a label, pretending that it's fucking normal just to make themselves feel better. Because deep down, no matter how much society likes to neglect it, we know that it's probably not good you sleep with 100 fucking different people. Maybe physically, whatever, you're fine, you're clean. We are conscious, sentient beings with souls. We connect with people. You connect with enough people, you're not going to be able to connect with one.
I think I saw a statistic. It wasn't really. I can't remember. I'll have to find it and send it to you. That apparently,
It was a study done showing the more that partners that you've been with, the more likelihood of divorce, unhappiness of marriage, dissatisfaction, unattractiveness.
uh, yeah, the wives reported. The women that reported with the greatest satisfaction were the ones who were virgins when they married. That was
Here's the
the
thing.
greatest class that was sexually satisfied.
So here's the thing too, and I'm gonna pull an Andrew Tate moment here, or a fucking Kevin Samuels or whatever. We're not the fucking same. Guys sleeping around and women sleeping around are not the fucking same. That's a hill I will die on. There's a huge psychological factor that plays into this. We are not wired the same. But society's ingrained in everyone that that's not the case. Whatever. But that's here nor there. So I mean that's tip number one. You don't need a fucking hoe phase. Just increases your likelihood of having a kid with someone that you don't want. Two, have a kid with someone that you want to fucking have a kid with. Ideally, in the sanctity of marriage. Because then, at least, when she takes you for divorce, you at least have some fighting chance. You get a little more push. Because if you guys aren't married, good fucking luck, dude. Good luck, my guy. R.I.P. Your wallet and your heart. Number three would probably be if it were to happen, right? Oops, you made an oopsie. But we like to call them little miracles. I'm kidding. I love kids. They're adorable. Um, you made an oopsie. Man the fuck up. Own up to what the fuck happened. And do what you need to do. Make sure that kid is provided for. If you're not with the mother, you don't need to fucking provide for her. Provide for your kid. Fuck her. Well, I mean, you already did, but you get what I'm saying.
That's what got you there in the first place.
Pretty much. But
Did we already
don't.
get Alex's question?
We wait until number 5.
But number three would be man the fuck up. Should happen. All right. Now, should the situation where she takes the kid away and whatever, fight for it. Do whatever you can. Right? I know it's going to be hard. It's going to take time. It's going to take money. Fuck, that's the situation that I'm in right now. Fucking sucks. But I always have that thought in the back of my head. Right? I'm always working towards something greater so that eventually fucking see my boy. Long game. That's all it is. Number five would probably be you never know who the fuck's watching you. You never know what another person's going through. If you have the opportunity to be a mentor, to be a father figure, a role model to somebody, do it. Don't be a little bitch standing on the sidelines, always being a spectator. Step up, own up, because you don't know how much you can actually affect someone else's life by just being that for them when they didn't have anybody. And then that cause and effect. They go off, live a better life, and it's just a ripple after that. So that would be number five.
All right, we do have a question from Alex for you.
No.
A lot of my coworkers are saying that I'm not really dating my partner because we don't have sex. I don't think that's right because relationships need to be built on trust.
I don't see what sex has anything to do with trust. Excuse me. That was a good one. Okay. Anyway, what's the reason not for no sex? Was it your decision or was it her decision? And is she a virgin or did she have a whole phase? Now she what?
He says parents.
The fuck's that mean? Wait, hold on. How old is this kid?
At least 17.
17
At least.
at
Since
least.
they are both 18.
Okay.
Have a good one, Jay.
Is he a virgin? Hello?
Alex, you can. JB wants to know if you are technically a virgin, but you don't have to answer if you don't want to.
I know it's a really personal question, but
He says he is.
okay. Is the girlfriend a virgin?
Yes.
Okay, then there's nothing wrong with that. They can have a perfect relationship just the way it is. Don't let anyone think and try to pressure you into doing something that you are not ready for. I'm glad to hear that you guys are both celibate and or virgins, whatever. That's awesome because that takes off so much of the fucking pressure. Because you're not going to pressure her and she's not going to pressure you. Don't let the influence of other people ruin something that's supposed to be so fucking special.
Well, I do want to circle back around to something you just said, JB, but I do want to ask. You said it's the parents. What do you mean by that? Are they just saying like no? Are you afraid of them, or is this because it's a religious reason? You're just not there in trusting each other. Um, these are all valid things that I want some clarity on. They
It's
don't
not
approve of him because he is white.
oh, oh shit.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
No, I was that came out of fucking left field. Good God. Oh, first of all, fuck that. Respectfully, that bullshit. Um, and secondly,
Thank you, Caden. That yes,
It's racism.
like, like,
it's racism. It's racism.
y'all are fucked.
He spelled racism. He didn't spell racism. He spelled racism.
I know, I know, I know. Um, honestly, fuck what everyone else has to say. I get you guys are young and you guys are some horny motherfuckers, right? Just hit your fucking puberty, got that testosterone flowing. You just want to stiff dick the fuck out of her. So I can say this because he's 18, and it's not weird.
No,
Um,
it's still a little weird.
not where I'm going with this story.
Uh oh.
All right, take the sunglasses off here for a second. I'm gonna get serious with you. Motherfucker better be listening too. I lost my virginity at 18, right? I get it later than everyone else. I wasn't actually. I was probably a little fugly back then, so I don't blame anyone for not wanting to sleep with my ass. Listen, I lost my virginity at 18. The mother of my child, who's a grade A, see you next Tuesday. She's the one I lost my virginity to. The second or third time we ever had sex was when she got knocked up. I found out I was going to be a dad senior year of high school. My son was born a week before I started college. This is the reality of the situation that you have to consider when you're doing this shit. You are still so young and have so much life left. Don't fuck it up. Not saying you can't ever have sex. Not saying you have to be the 40-year-old virgin. Just be very fucking careful, especially at your guys' age. I rest my case.
There are a couple things I kind of want to add to that. Maybe she's not ready. Maybe you're not ready. Um, the approval of her family that realistically, in the end, if you love each other, should not matter. Like, don't like say it's on the eve of your wedding night and it's time for the consummation. Oh my, your parents don't approve of me. We can't do it. Like, don't let that get in the way of you for that long. And but just as JB said that we have been talking about, be careful. There there is something that I want to add to what you said, JB, is you said, "Oh, you're a virgin, she's a virgin." Well, great. There's nothing wrong here. Um, if I could go back, I would never have had sex until I was married. Simply because that's something you can't undo. But on the other side of that, I can't go back. And if I was to say right now, until I meet the girl that I am going to marry, and until we are married, I'm not going to have sex. If she doesn't want to do it and I don't want to do it, and only one of us is a virgin, there's nothing wrong with that.
Um, you're right saying that there's nothing wrong with it. You're wrong in the sense of thinking that if you're a virgin and she's not, that she's not going to want to get it eventually or from somewhere. Because you know as well as I do, when you lose your virginity, you get that taste, like you get that good pussy, you crave it. That
Yeah,
testosterone is a killer.
you're right. But there's a mentality. Like, I'm coming at this because I'm a Christian. I come at this from a Christian perspective. Um, and
And
there's
I have to come at this from the reality of Western culture.
fair.
At some point, she will try to push those boundaries and pressure to get him to sleep with her, right?
Then maybe it's not a couple that in the
Or
end,
she'll cheat on him.
yeah. And but then again, maybe then that's not a couple. That's not something you should be with. If there is trust
No,
and
no,
there,
no, okay, but here, I don't mean to cut you off, but again, you have to remember, you're coming at it from a relationship that has God in the center. And with that, it would fucking work. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
I have to,
absolutely.
right. And I have to come at it, you know, being devil's advocate, even though even though I fucking agree with you, wholeheartedly. It's just I have to put it in the reality of the situation for the majority of people when they're placing this, right? It's hard, right? It's not that you don't have a relationship or you're not a couple. Temptation's a bitch. You will try to pressure the partner. You'll try to, you'll still be respectful, but you might make them feel bad and guilt trip them enough into like finally being like, all right, fine, I'll fuck you.
And
And after that, it
that's
loses all its sanctity.
well, and for one, we could have a religious discussion at some point, realistically. But if you are pressuring your partner into doing that, this is the reality. Then maybe you're not meant to be together. Maybe you're because that's manipulative, and that's wrong.
Right,
And maybe you're just not meant to be together if that's the case.
right,
Maybe they need to be with someone who is ready to have sex. And maybe you need to be with someone who can respect your boundaries and doesn't want to push them.
right. And obviously that goes for all ages, regardless. But I'm also trying to keep in mind too the immaturity and the lack of development and experience for these young kids that are trying to fuck, don't know how to fuck, don't want to fuck, always want to fuck. You know, they have a lot less control, oftentimes than not, of those urges and of those emotions. So I can almost guarantee you there are probably situations where, yes, it's being manipulative and guilt tripping and, whatever. But in that moment, they do not see it like that. They just want some fucking pussy. Still wrong. Don't get me wrong. Still wrong. but they probably are ignorant, you know, to those type of things because of lack of experience.
There's probably not enough
Is that-
warm pies being left on kitchen tables.
But you know what I mean, though? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, I get you.
So, like, you have to almost like put it back to like when you first hit puberty, and like you start seeing your fucking shit
You
pop
have a
up.
new message.
Apparently, I have a new message,
You have a new message.
and it will keep going indefinitely until I disconnect. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with it. Anyway, you almost have to put it back when you first hit puberty, right? And you felt like horny, I guess, for the first time. Like the first time you looked at like an ass and you were like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, you really don't know what the fuck's going on. All you know is you see a nice pair of tits and all of a sudden your thing down there goes, hey, how you doing? You're figuring shit out. You don't know. But again, boom, perfect way to wrap everything up in a nice little bow. This is where a dad can come in, have that conversation with him, teach him how it's fucking done,
No,
teach him how to fucking respect women appropriately, and handle the fucking situation. Mic drop. Good talk.
Uh,
What?
because you said
We
that you
we do
see.
have one more question coming in too.
Oh, okay. I'm just. Never mind.
What's the question?
It's being typed.
Fuck.
Yeah, he needs some advice. So.
Okay. Got this. Game
Like
face.
from one of your long lost helpers.
Anyway, but Alex, do you have any questions or any follow up that you want to add? Was it helpful at all?
If and when you do finally get to do the nasty, pillow underneath the lower back. You'll thank me later.
He's got a point.
And if you ever get into choking, it's the sides, not the throat.
Yeah, don't crush your windpipe for fuck's sake.
Some people don't know.
So, just a jugular. Also, there's a thing about hair pulling. You can't just yank.
Nope. Start from the base of the scalp, work your way up, then grab.
Definitely not at the end. That's just asking for
Yeah,
a
no,
long time to get cut short.
JB likes to fuck.
Feel like we need to bring up the TikTok video about scooting.
All right. Anyway, so before we get too off into the weeds, Alex says he's about good, but he does appreciate your time to answer everything.
Absolutely. That's a topic I definitely take personally.
All right, we
Obviously.
got the question from Rip came in. So in October, I'm going to see my girlfriend, and honestly, I'm nervous about it. I never really had a lot of luck with women, and I really want to make a good first impression, but be real about it at the same time. Any ideas?
You've never met her before. And I'm guessing it's long distance then? If you're like planning it.
He has not met her before, and it is long distance.
Okay. First of all, good luck. Just being real with you. Don't get your hopes too high, but shoot for the sky. Reality of the situation, not being a dick, you can even look at the statistics. Secondly, if you want to make a good impression, find out her favorite color, her favorite flowers, and if you really want to be fucking cute, you can make her a CD, because yes, those still do exist, or you can make her a playlist on Spotify or Apple, whatever, and share it with her. Name it something cute, and then put a list of all your favorite songs on there. And from there, figure out if she likes snacks. Because little did you know, if you've never been good with women, it's probably because you didn't feed them. If you feed them,
this is
all
true.
the attitude and demons like flow out of them. They do this little dance, and the next thing you know, they're happy little shits. So if she likes snacks, bring her some of her favorite snacks. Watch how fucking happy she gets.
Okay, there's two things that I want to add to that. One, bring a spare hoodie because one of them's going to get stolen.
No, purposely forget quote unquote forget it there, but make sure it's sprayed with your cologne.
Point two, just be presentable. Smell nice, look nice, but still be you. Like, don't. That is not the day to be trying a new cologne.
Well, I mean, if he's a nasty person, then don't be you. Clean up.
Well, yeah,
I
that.
don't know. I don't know you.
But
You know what I mean,
also, just don't be a nasty person. You should just general advice, just be clean. But
right? So fingernails, toenails, trim them. Shit, go get a mani pedi if you have to. Get a haircut. If you have facial hair, trim that shit and clean it. Deodorant, for the love of God. And then you're right on the cologne. Women are really big on smells. They're really in tune. Like if you smell good, they will tell you.
I
Also,
mean,
wear red.
because women are bulls.
No, because your eyes coordinate with colors that affect your psyche. When we see red, it's popping. It grabs your attention. It says, hey, look at me. You say blue, it's calming. It's more soothing. Each color is coordinated with different emotions that it make you feel. That's why you pick out certain ties or suits or whatever when you're going to like an interview or a meeting.
Uh,
Didn't know that one, did you?
well, Steffi is saying she disagrees. She agrees with the smells. Because humans, I mean, I feel like that's just kind of how humans are. If I smell a pretty girl, I'd be like, I want to be around her more. But um, Steffi disagrees with the red shirt.
Oh, you
And
don't ask a fish on how to catch fish.
fair. But I would still value her opinion because she might show something that we're not seeing. Um, and she is typing right now.
You're going to have just as many ways to catch someone of the opposite sex as there are people out there.
I wouldn't exactly put it that way because now it sounds like you're abducting people.
Well,
Be very careful with your word choice there, bud.
Wait, hold on. Pickle, do you have a van?
I have a truck with the bed cover.
That's
Close enough.
yeah, that's close enough. That's a red flag.
Wait, why does it have to be a red flag? Why does the color of the flag matter?
It's more eye popping.
Gotcha, bitch.
It's the phrase, I swear.
Stuff you still typing?
Oh,
It's her personal
yeah, it's
preference.
a
She does
personal
not care for red.
preference. So disregard what I said. Wear red.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna further on to that because then I'll just sound like a cocky fucking asshole. But
You are a cocky
anyway,
fucking asshole.
sometimes I can be sometimes. I try to be more confident majority of the time, but I do notice sometimes I do come off as a cocky asshole. I don't fucking give a shit. It's my own goddamn life. If you want to be in it, there's the door. Anyway, to wrap everything up, as we had said before, everything that we had talked about, these are all things you really need to fucking take into consideration when going about your life. Because you may, have listened to this, even if it doesn't fucking apply to you, it may at some point. unless you are never going to have sex in your entire life, ever, nor do you have any association with other fucking people, then it probably wouldn't apply ever. But open up your eyes, right? See the bigger fucking picture, and actually take to heart a lot of the things we talked about. Because I guarantee you, it will impact you on some degree at some point in your fucking life. And if you are too ignorant or blind to fucking see it, it is no one else to blame but yourself. With that being said, thank you all for listening. Sorry if I was loud and aggressive and rambled a lot. I got into it a little bit. But like, share, follow the podcast. Keep tuning in. Let us know what you want more of. And I think that's a wrap, guys. Scene.